that there was no reason to make Hamlet a rock opera as opposed to Jesus Christ Superstar, which was because the authors were trying to draw a comparison between rock idols and Jesus, as a lot of people like to do. But to the creators of Rockabye Hamlet, they were making a statement about the youth unrest and social order in the US at the time. The Vietnam War had turned the nation into a place of rotten injustice and anarchy, similar to the state of Denmark. The Newsday critic admitted that he quite enjoyed the show, but did not want to give it a good review for fear that it would lead to rock and roll Romeo and Juliet, jazz Julius Caesar, or Maud Macbeth. Oh my god, I said Macbeth in the Moulin Rouge! I didn't mean to give myself that line. It's bad luck. I have to go outside and do that.
The show had a swashbuckling finale where Hamlet grabbed a hold of the drawbridge, pulled himself onto it, and battled Laertes and Claudius in a sword match. John Gielgud said, "There are things about the show that are breathtaking." And yet critic Douglas Watt said, "To watch Rockabye Hamlet, a gaudy and anachronistic exercise in musical kitsch that flopped about the stage of the Minskoff last night like a dying swordfish, is to marvel at the heights of folly attainable along Broadway."
Including that cod piece. Really great. Variety said, "The play is not the thing in Rockabye Hamlet. There's no point in mentioning any of the performers by name. They do the best they can." They're just trying to have the funniest quote. You know they are. But the Hollywood Dramalog wrote, "There are at least a dozen songs that hit you square in your rockin' bones to make you want to stand up and shout, hooray for being daring and taking chances." My favorite lyric, I have a lot, as you can see in that song, which is awesome. My favorite lyric is in a song that Polonius sings to Laertes. "Good son, you return to France. Keep your divinity inside your pants." I wrote to Cliff Jones, the writer of Rockabye Hamlet, that's him, and asked him if he wanted to share a memory in writing, he lives in Canada, that we could share in tonight's concert. Here is what he wrote to us. "My musical version of Hamlet ended up on Broadway because of one person, the late, great Tony Award-winning actress Colleen Dewhurst, whose son, Campbell Scott, is not doing badly in movies, and his papa was George C. Scott. For many years, Colleen's summer home was on Canada's smallest province, Prince Edward Island, north of Maine, which is also where my summer home is located, though I live in Toronto. Colleen saw the original stage production of my musical on the island, starring Brent Carver and Beverly D'Angelo, and fell in love with it. She was on a summer hiatus from a Broadway production she was doing of Moon for the Misbegotten, and she got her producers of that show to come up and see Rockabye Hamlet. They ended up producing it on Broadway. Colleen and I became great friends. My wife and I often stayed with her either at her Prince Edward Island home or her home in South Salem, New York. On one such occasion in South Salem, Colleen asked us over for this, as she put it, special dinner. When we got there, her whole place was decorated for Canadian Thanksgiving, which occurs a month or so earlier than American Thanksgiving. Colleen's celebration for us, as well as herself, she originally being from Montreal, had all the fixins, turkey, mashed potatoes, squash, and of course pumpkin pie. Colleen loved entertaining, and the house was packed with a few zillion of her friends. Among the great people I met there was Jason Robards, who I later became friends with and helped me get the booze out of my life. That Canadian Thanksgiving at Colleen Dewhurst's farm in South Salem was the best Thanksgiving I have ever experienced in my life." Nice story.
Now, reviewers really drove it home with Rockabye Hamlet. Those who were displeased left no stone unturned in sharing what they disliked. One particularly pointed criticism came from Alan Rich, who wrote, "The technical proficiency at work here is, to say the least, a little frightening. It stretches to fearsome limits anyone's familiar definition of theater, in the sense of live performance and the mood of the moment. It is so much the creation of the soundboard and the lightboard that a team of robots could probably take over at any moment with nary a change." Regardless of the content of the show, the theatrical elite were frightened of what technology was doing to change the theater.
The Village Voice wrote, "Gower Champion should in unsanctified ground be lodged." That's like really, like he should be buried in unsanctified ground for doing a musical. There he is greeting all the fans on the opening night. Cool. Champion's motive could only have, this is still the critic, Champion's motive could only have been greed. "It soothes me to contemplate the fortunes that he and his backers are going to lose." That is like, geez. That kind of venom and assumption from critics, it always shocks me, no matter how many times I see it. Champion said at the time that it was actually the best time he ever had in rehearsal directing a new project, and that it felt new and exciting. According to his biography, after the 7th and final performance of Rockabye Hamlet, at the end of his rope, he said, "I guess the only thing left..." Oh, someone's not happy we're reading these Rockabye Hamlet words, like reviews verbatim. I guess the only thing left for me is to go out to Vegas and do a tits and feathers show, and then he went to 42nd Street. So.
42nd Street. Cliff Jones recorded a song called Broadway Wipeout about his experience with Rockabye Hamlet. The song began with the sound of an audience cheering. Lyrics were about how 5 critics killed the show. The chorus of the song went, "Thank you, New York Times. Thank you, New York Times." He went on to direct a revised version of the show, now called Something Rockin' in Denmark in LA. Here to sing another tune from Rockabye Hamlet, the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Boogie, welcome Daniel Everidge and Cale Krise.
I'm very short. I'm very tall. That's the song right there. You're looking at a pair of guys, the talk of the town. Whenever there's a party on, you'll find us around. And if you think the things we do are nice for a change, a little later on you'll think they're virgin on stage. The men say that we're witty, the women say we're pretty. I'm Rosencrantz, I'm Guildenstern, we'll see you around. See you around, see you around. Rosencrantz, you're looking pretty ballsy today. Guildenstern, you're looking good the opposite way. I love the tacky way you did your hair up this morn. My dear, you know it's just the way I was born. Now we're back into the castle. I bet it's for a ball. I'm Rosencrantz, I'm Guildenstern, we'll see you around. See you around, see you around. Dance break. Like us to be with this lot. Befriending that boy Hamlet was a hell of a plot. We better act more proper now. I think he's cute, but she's a cat. I'm Rosencrantz, I'm Guildenstern.